Hi, this is Belinda Colubriale, and this is Talking High Performance with Belle. So I'm making this podcast for people who want to live their best life, people who know that there's more in them, but they just don't know how to get it. So there's a gap, something's missing, I'm making it for them. Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Welcome to another episode of Talking High Performance with Belle. I can't believe we're in 2024. Last year seems to have flown by, but a new year is a really exciting time, and I love a new year, setting new goals, setting new challenges, and this month we're talking about resetting. And last year, one of my big projects was writing my online course, which has had some really good feedback. So if you haven't checked it out yet, I encourage you, go and check it out. I'd love to know your thoughts. You can get the link in the bio, or you can look it up on my website or Google it. So resetting is a really important skill to develop, and it's something that I really, really love chatting about. And today I want to talk to you about resetting, but how to reset different areas of your life. And there's no better time to do that than in January, when most of you are on a break, unless you're in retail, and I empathize with you there. But most of us, are with our family. And so it's a really good time to look at different parts of our life and go, what do I want to do differently in 2024? And before I start, I want to talk about my ideas on resetting. And I feel like throughout the year, we have so many opportunities to reset. We can reset every day, we can reset every week, even every month. But quite often we downplay the reset. It could be that we're having a crappy week, things aren't going our way, we've had some bad food, and so we're like, I'll start again next week. And we write off whether it's the day, the week, the month, and sometimes even the year. So you set some New Year's goals and, it comes to March and you're not following through. So you go, I'm just going to do that in 2025. And so the next 9 months you just spend doing whatever you want. But when you can look at every day like a new opportunity, it's really amazing to see how much you can get done. And you can even take this further and go, okay, I've had a really bad morning, but I'm going to reset and look differently towards my afternoon. And quite often when I'm with the kids, if I think about this in my own life and, one of them is driving me up the wall, which is, quite often the case with 4, it's easy to get frustrated, but I need to reset myself. And when I do that, or when I go and take a 10-minute break, or when I make myself a cup of tea, it's much easier to improve the second part of the day. And it really makes a big difference to not only my day, but also their day, because at the end of the day, I'm in charge of how I feel, regardless of what they're doing. So I'd love you to think about resetting as an opportunity, and it's an opportunity to start fresh. And there's no better time to do that than at the beginning of the year. So let's talk about why resetting is important when it comes to living a high performance life, and the 3 things I've learned from resetting, which I want to share with you today. And the first thing is, resetting really helps me to get clear. So if you think about your life and you think about the constant demands that we face and the distractions, and there's quite a lot of them in today's world, giving yourself the opportunity to reset and recharge really helps to get clearer. And it really helps with your focus and making really important decisions. So when we can stop, when we can think about what we want from our lives, and we can take the time to go, hang on, what happened in the past? Am I happy with that? It really helps to ensure we're moving in the right direction. And for myself personally, taking that time out helps me to really focus on what's important. What are the goals that I want to achieve? What's working well, and also what isn't. And resetting is a really good way to do that, and a really good way to stop and recharge, to work out how do you move forward and build that momentum. The second thing that resetting really helps with is it reduces stress. So when you're living a life of high performance, quite often others will go to you, I don't know how you can manage what you do. How do you juggle? What's the secret? And quite often when you're that person yourself, you may not recognize what they're talking about. But when you stop to think about everything that is on your plate, it is quite easy to get overwhelmed in certain moments. But a high performer also knows that in order to maintain their lifestyle, they need to reset to avoid that burnout and to avoid that decrease in performance. So when you reset regularly, especially when you've got a lot on your plate, it helps with the management of stress and maintaining that work-life balance, which is what high-performance living is all about. It's that holistic approach to living. And the third thing that I really notice works for me when I reset is it helps with my creativity. So I notice when I'm down on productivity or when my motivation starts to decrease, my creativity also starts to decrease. So I know that when I reset and set new goals or create a new mind map, listen to podcasts, think outside the box, this all happens much more easily when I'm able to reset. So in years gone by, and I've spoken about this before, I'd push through tasks just to get it done and not rest when I should, thinking that I'm wasting time if I rest. Whereas if we go, no, hang on, I actually need to rest in order to be more productive, that's quite often for myself when new ideas come. And so I'm really proactive in creating those moments these days in resting and resetting in order to be more creative. And I encourage that with my clients all the time. And even if initially they find it quite difficult, they do notice big changes. So they're 3 areas where it's really helped me. And so as we move into the next section today, I want to talk about, we're in a new year, so there's new opportunities. So we've got the daily, weekly, monthly opportunities that I've spoken about, but there's no better time to reset than at the beginning of the year. So I want to talk about some different areas of your life, and I want you to think about how do you reset in these particular areas. And the first one is your health. So in 2024, how do you improve your health when it comes to not only your physical health, but also your emotional well-being? And I'll talk about this a little bit later in the month, emotional well-being when it comes to boundaries and things. But if you reflect on your current health habits and think about what areas can I improve? This could be fitness goals. It could be adopting a healthier diet. It could be getting more regular checkups with the GP. What can you do? Like, what's your plan for maintaining your health throughout the year and for resetting when you do notice things start to change? And it's a great time to do this in the holiday season when you're a little bit clearer and often we're a little bit more focused. Number 2 is think about your relationships with your significant other. So how do you take that relationship to the next level? You may already have a good relationship. How do you make it great? So remember, we're talking high performance. How do you elevate it even by 5%? So how do you communicate better? How do you spend a little bit more quality time together? How do you resolve conflicts more constructively? So think about opportunities where you can reset your relationship and build even more meaningful connections. That's the second one. Third one is finances. So, there's been a lot of talk over the past 12 months about finances and interest rates and cost of living. Have a look at your spending habits, have a look at your savings goals. If you don't have any goals, maybe it's time to start writing some financial goals and think about investments. What do you have at the moment? Where do you want to be? Are you happy with where you are? So think about the next year and go, what can I do to improve and to reset my financial targets to provide that level of abundance that I want, whatever that is. So how do you improve that a little bit? What's holding you back or what hasn't worked? It's a good time to check the credit card and all those little, monthly subscriptions that come in and go, do I need this? Or is this just something that I haven't checked in a while and I can save a few $100s every month just by going through it? So that's the third one. Fourth one is family and friends. So our overall well-being is largely impacted by who we're around, conversations that we have, what we give our energy to. So how do we nurture the connections that are important to us in 2024 and strike a balance between, social commitments, but also resting for ourselves? So maybe we've overcommitted in social situations in certain parts of 2023. Maybe we haven't committed enough and we're feeling a little bit lonely. So what can we do in 2024 that's a little bit different? And how do we bring more positive support into our life? And how do we make time for people that are important to us? So think about the existing bonds that you have and go, okay, this has worked well. What can I do to make it better? Or maybe it's time I need to let a couple of things go. That's number 4. Number 5 is your career. So I didn't want to put it at number 1 because you're meant to be on a break, but number 5 is career. And this plays a really large role in overall daily, but also life satisfaction. So think about your career and go, do I love what I'm doing? How do I make it a little bit more purposeful? Am I satisfied in how I show up? And does it provide me with what I need? So think about, are there any changes that are necessary when it comes to your career? And I'm not saying change your career, but I'm just saying think about what you can be doing better on your end. And when do you know that it's time for you to have a reset when it comes to work? Like, when do you know it's time for a break? So what can you do differently when it comes to your career? And the last one is hobbies. So think about what you enjoy doing and how do you reset the new year going, this is what I enjoy and I'm going to give a little bit more time to that this year. What are activities that you can do that bring you fulfillment, and how can you prioritize those a little bit more? So whether it's a sport, a creative hobby, or something you've always wanted to learn, how do you allocate time for that in your schedule in 2024? So there you have it, my top 6 tips for resetting. And resetting is a really powerful tool that is often underutilized, I feel, and it has huge potential to really change the outcome of your days, your weeks, and your months. So I've used the beginning of the year as a great time to reset. But also don't forget, if you do feel like you've mucked up, it doesn't matter. Start again, start a new day, start a new part of the day or start a new week afresh. And I'm really excited to see what resetting can do for you. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned and join me next week. I'm going to be talking about how to supercharge your productivity through resetting techniques. And as you know, I'm a bit of a productivity nerd, so this topic really excites me. So have a great week, and until next week, live a successful, purposeful, and fully charged life. Your coach, Belle.